Just providing a quick update on our investigation here. Following up on some leads, we were able to determine the identity of at least 4 other people who were involved in this incident. That information led us to a residence in nearby Riverton on Daggerwing Way. Because of the nature of what we were dealing with and some of the history of the persons involved, we did utilize South Valley SWAT, our tactical team, to make a tactical approach to the residence, where we did what's called a surrounding call out to detain the persons that were inside the residence. At that location, we also were able to locate the white car that had fled from the scene here. That has been seized as well. And we have identified the other 4 suspects, 2 of which had been transported to nearby hospitals for treatment of injuries related to this incident. We are currently in the process of interviewing the other 4 individuals involved. At this point, we have 2 adult females, 1 adult male, and 1 juvenile male who are detained.
Who's the stabber?
That we're trying to figure that out still. We don't have an answer to the question of who actually did the stabbing yet. However, all 4 of those individuals were involved in this altercation to some extent.
Can you spell the name of the street in Riverton, please?
It's Daggerwing. It's Daggerwing. Way, correct. Yep. And as a precaution, nearby Foothills Elementary was placed on what we call a secure status, which is formerly known as a lockdown. While we were operating in the area, that status has obviously been lifted. We were in close communication with our partners from the Jordan School District and Riverton City officials throughout that time period.
Were all 4 of those people inside that residence?
2 had been transported by personal vehicles to area hospitals. The other 2 were located at the residence.
Can you say which 2?
Not yet.
They were transported to hospitals?
Correct. Yeah, they were driven. They drove themselves, or were driven to area hospitals in private vehicles. So they weren't transported by us or by fire department. They were taken to the hospital by family members for treatment of injuries, non-life-threatening injuries that were sustained during this altercation.
Can you give us any more about the nature of those injuries?
Not yet. Again, until we were able to piece together kind of who took part in what and who was involved in which part of the altercation, we just don't have any definitive answers to that right now. We're in the process of interviewing all 4 of those people.
Any more on the relationship between this 16-year-old and those people?
I will say at this point we are fairly certain that they are known to each other. They have a history. And it does not appear that this was a random incident. This does appear to be some sort of a targeted incident between those 2 parties. They do have history with each other.
And you know what's the
As far as motive, again, we're still trying to work that out. They came here today to attend the graduation ceremony for Valley High School, which was held at the Real Salt Lake Academy. Like I said, there has been history between these people in the past. At some point, triggered an altercation. Again, we don't believe that it was random. It was a targeted incident. But as far as the motive, we're still working that out as we work through our interviews with the other 4 people involved.
Can you confirm that an altercation took place at the graduation and then spread to here?
We don't believe so. We know at one point they were all at the graduation. We don't believe there was an altercation that occurred there. We're working closely with the staff at the Real Salt Lake Academy to determine if there were any reports of altercations that happened there, but there were clearly nothing that rose to the level of somebody calling us until the altercation that occurred here.
Do you know any more about the victim that can be shared at this time?
We're not releasing his name right now, just as we wait for additional family members to be notified. We have been in contact with his immediate family and they are aware. We're just giving them some time to process and then make notifications to extended family. We probably anticipate releasing some additional information tomorrow.
What about the weapon? Any news on that?
Not yet. We're obviously, as part of our investigation, we'll seize the vehicles, we'll conduct a search warrant on the residence that's on Daggerwing in an attempt to locate the weapons that may or may not have been involved in this incident. And at that point, we'll hopefully be able to release that information once those searches are complete.
And then at that...
Does one of the persons who was in that car live at that Daggerwing address?
Correct. So one of our 4 individuals who we have detained lives at that Daggerwing address.
Is that one of the teenagers, one of the minors?
Again, we're not really at the point of releasing that information until we are able to definitively identify the relationship between all 5 of these people. but at least one of our 4 individuals that we have detained lives at the Dagger Wing address.
understand that the SWAT team was there
Mhm.
and surrounded the house.
Correct.
Did the SWAT team give commands to people inside?
Correct. So they conducted what we call a surrounding call out, which is where we contain the residence or the area in question, and then we make verbal announcements to the people inside the residence. They were cooperative with our announcements and came out and surrendered peacefully. It's just, again, it's a tactical decision based off of the circumstance and the incident that we're dealing with, and then the history of the people that are involved.
Were there any weapons that recognized these cars still waiting for the sign?
We have a search warrant signed. We're waiting for the search to be completed.
I see. What have you found? Are you at liberty to say what you found so far?
I actually don't know. Again, that search is ongoing as we speak right now, so we don't have any information on what has been found inside the residence or the 2 vehicles.
So to clarify, the white car was found at that Riverton address.
Correct.
And it belongs to one of the suspects.
Correct.
Overall, from this incident, how many people are at the hospital? Is it just the 2 people?
So just the 2 that were treated at area hospitals, and those are the only 2 that went to a hospital or requested transport or had injuries that were that required medical attention.
Treated and released?
What's that?
Treated and released?
At least one of them has been released. I'm not sure on the status of the other one, but all of their injuries are non-life threatening.
What charges are these 4 individuals potentially facing?
Again, it depends a lot on the outcome of our interviews with those 4 individuals, but as we said before, this is a tragic circumstance where we have the loss of life, and regardless of how it started, we have a 16-year-old who's deceased. And so any range of charges, all the way up to aggravated murder, depending on the circumstances and the information that comes out of the evidence that's gathered and the interviews that are conducted. It's a very serious deal, and we're committed again to being transparent with our community and holding those people accountable where that's warranted.
This scene here obviously was a lot to it. Do you know where it started? Did it start down there and end here?
We do believe the altercation started down here at the bottom of the street, and then at some point ended up here where the vehicle's parked.
With those suspects, are any of them married? You said 2 adult females, 1 male. Are any of them married or together?
As far as like their relationship with each other, not maritally. There is some connection between a couple of them. Again, we're still trying to work out exactly how they're connected as we wait for their medical treatment, and then we'll bring them back to our office and conduct our interviews. What's that?
Is it mom and son?
I couldn't tell you, to be honest with you. I don't know what their direct relationship is. I know there is a relationship between at least 2 of them.
So 2 adult women and then 2 juveniles.
Correct.
And the 2 juveniles are a boy and a
Well,
I thought you said 1 adult
Yeah,
man,
they said 1 adult man and 1
1 juvenile.
that's right. Sorry.
one
Two adult females,
2 adult females, 1 adult man,
1 juvenile male. Correct.
And are they members of the same?
No.
Um,
Sorry, I lost my mic pack here. I'm making for really awkward shots. I'm just gonna stick it in my pocket.
You can just put it in the pocket.
Is there a
Yeah, well,
have they made any statements?
What's that?
Have any of the people that you say are involved made any statements?
They are cooperating with our investigators. There are conversations that are ongoing. We just don't have, not in a place where we're going to release any of that information right now.
Were there 2 cars in addition to the car with
Two. Yeah, we believe there are a total of 3 vehicles involved. 2 that left here and went to the Dagger Wing address. The white car that we were initially looking for. Another vehicle that is on scene that we believe is connected to this incident.
that black Lincoln.
No, not here on scene, at the Dagger Wing address. Yeah.
I guess my other question is how long are you guys going to be out here at the scene tonight?
We should be wrapped up within the next couple hours. Again, there's a process that we have to go through. Anytime somebody passes away outside of the hospital, the jurisdiction is that of the medical examiner's office, so we have to wait for their investigators to conduct their cursory investigation here. They will take custody of the body. Again, as we're working through our investigation and writing search warrants for the vehicle, and then conducting our investigation of the scene, where we gather all the information that's here. We use technology, we use drones and scanners to to capture all of the information and data that's available here at the scene. That does take some time. We should be wrapped up within the next couple hours.
Do you have a sense as to how long before you sort out who did the stabbing and who were accomplices?
I would anticipate, now that we know who the players are, I would anticipate we'll have answers to some of those questions relatively quickly within the next day or so.
And have all of these people been arrested?
Not arrested. Right now, again, our investigators are actively talking with them. So right now we're calling them persons of interest. They are detained. Of those people who are detained, we don't know yet which ones may or may not be booked into detention on charges or are just connected in some other way, but they're all detained at this point.
A witness told us they saw another individual inside that gray car with the victim. Do you have any indication if they were with the victim or if they were someone performing life-saving measures?
I think it's probably both. We do know that our deceased victim was not alone here. Obviously came here with other people to attend the graduation. So, and then once this altercation occurred, there were certainly bystanders and or witnesses who did attempt to render aid prior to the arrival of our personnel and medical personnel. So, as far as when we arrived, there was nobody else in the vehicle, but it's highly possible and likely that there were other people in the vehicle prior to that.
And then do you have any indication if he was stabbed multiple times, once?
We don't know yet. Until the medical examiner gets here and we can actually remove him from the vehicle and take a closer look, we just don't know.
He was with some friends in the car.
We think so.
And they were graduates or
I actually don't know if they were graduates or not, or if they were here for somebody else.
but he was at the graduation and they were at the graduation.
That's what we believe.
When we talked earlier, you couldn't remember the exact year of the last murder in Herriman. I mean, we talked to some neighbors. They said this is pretty abnormal and sad.
Yeah.
I mean, what are your thoughts on that, I guess?
Well, again, any loss of life is tragic, particularly when you're talking about a 16-year-old, somebody who's got their whole life ahead of them, and people make poor decisions sometimes. We take it very seriously. We have a very low violent crime rate in Herriman. This kind of thing doesn't happen here usually. So when we say it's been a while since we can't even remember the last time we had a homicide, it's been a while. And again, our community is great about taking care of itself and taking care of each other, and it's just not something that typically happens here. But obviously today it happened, and we'll deal with it appropriately. Anybody else?
Thank you.